Good morning, fish keepers. Cam here from the fishroom.co.nz. We've done it to Friday. Not only have we done it to Friday, we've also made it to Christmas. I know a lot of you hate that word, but I don't. I love it. I love Mariah Carey at Christmas time and all year round. So that's a happy time. And celebrate with a coffee. Coffee is good. Okay, so I've got nothing on my book because I've been running around frantically doing a whole lot of other stuff. Equally so, I don't know where John is. I sent him a link to the live stream earlier and he hasn't seen it yet. So I don't know where John is. Maybe he'll turn up, maybe he won't. Also, there was one more thing, I can't remember what it was. Good morning, Brian. How are you doing? Oh, yeah. So we've left this as a bit of an open mic type situation. If you want to jump on and have a chat about fish or anything related to fish, let me know and I will send you a link and you can jump on and we can just talk smack about fish. We did this last year as well. This year I was well and truly not organised. I've got way more stuff going on out the back. But if you do want to come and talk about fish or something along those lines, please let me know. We'll send you a link and you get amongst that as well. Good morning, Helen, and good morning, Gary. I hope everybody's well. Also, apologies for me being a little bit late. Again, I was running around quite frantically getting stuff done. So we can talk. Good morning, Rochelle. So we can talk about that. For some reason, I've had a wee burst of energy wanting to do YouTube videos over the last, week and a half or so. So we released a couple. We've got another one coming out today or tomorrow. So I've recorded a video on diatoms algae or brown algae. It seems to be a very common occurrence. People coming into the shop and asking about it, what it is, how it turns up, why it's there, all that sort of scenario. So I've done a very brief overview on that particular algae. Hopefully that helps a few people out. So that should be released tomorrow, maybe. So it's short and sweet. It's under 5 minutes, which is my ideal trying to make videos, particularly help videos and informational videos. So hopefully it goes well. Yesterday also, I remember that I had a whole lot of raw footage from when we first moved in. And when I say raw, it was incredibly raw. There's a lot of camera shaking. It's very Blair Witch Project. Blair Witch Project? That's a movie, isn't it? The Blair Witch Project. It had a bit of a vibe to it. So I hope it's not too rough, everybody. The intention of the footage that I took was never to be released to the general public. It was just me taking videos for my parents and my friends and stuff like that, sort of showing everyone what's going on. That's why it's quite raw. And then when I cut onto the most recent footage, it changes altogether. But it's a bit of a 1 year on. What it began with, how it was open, what my kind of plans were and my thoughts, and then where we are now. So it's quite cool for me to look back and see what it was. And I very clearly remember in some of the videos saying, hey, look at how much room I've got. And now I'm thinking, man, I don't have any room at all. So that was quite cool. So I'll put that on both TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all that kind of jazz. So if that interests you, get amongst that. And I've also been able to manage to work out how to edit my day in the life videos that I was doing on TikTok, which I think we're up to nearly 130 days in a row, excluding Saturday and Sunday, where I'm not here. And I've been able to manage to get them onto YouTube. So I'm pretty happy with that. For a very long time, I've been trying to work out how to turn a one of these videos to a one of these videos. And I found that I need to do one of these videos to one of these videos, and it makes it all better. So I'm really stoked about that. So all you YouTube watchers can get amongst that as well and see what's going on behind the scenes, as well as the people on TikTok. Good morning, Thomas. How are you doing, mate? So yeah, yesterday's video will be released very soon. I've just finished editing it, and away we go. Equally, the Three Idiots Talk Aquariums podcast, we've begun doing those live as well. We're trying to lock in a time and a date so everyone knows exactly when. But we went live this week on Wednesday, and we were speaking about breeding fish, raising fry, and that sort of stuff. So Quite informative. Ryan is very knowledgeable when it comes to breeding fish, and raising fry. So some pretty good little tidbits in there. So if you're interested in that, I'd highly encourage you to get amongst that, both on YouTube and Spotify. And one more thing, if you just bear with me a split second. We have the Aquarium Frenzy podcast is coming out today as well. I'm just trying to work out where we're at as far as guests go. I think we've just released Paul from Majestic Aquariums, which will mean that today's one will be our special edition with Tom Barr. No, today's one will be our one that we did with Jeff Miyoki, the Aquascaper. So I really enjoyed that. I got a lot of inspiration out of that. So I'm pretty excited about that one. I have listened to that more than once since then, and I'll probably continue to do so. It's very, very enjoyable. Hey, what am I talking about? It is the one with, I've just double checked. It tells you exactly how organised I am today. It is the one we did, the special edition we did with Tom Barr. So bear in mind we had a few audio issues with that one, but that'll be our podcast today. If I remember rightly, that'll be the last podcast we released with a guest delayed this year. And as of next year, we will be releasing, so on Monday the 1st, I'll be releasing all of the other podcasts that we have done with guests. And then from that point onwards, every time we do a Finatics Friday coffee date, we will be releasing them straight away. So basically that afternoon, so there'll be no delays in waiting for that. If it's just me talking, that'll be released. If it's also John talking with me, it'll be released. If it's someone with a guest, we'll release it all the same day as well. So didn't think there was a lot. Originally, I delayed the guest one in case I struggled to find a guest, just to make sure that we have one coming out every 2 weeks. And I thought there's not a lot of point of releasing them every 2 weeks. So, yeah, why do that? We'll just release them as they come out. Good morning, Rochelle, and good morning, Dan. How are you both? Rochelle asked me, have you worked out what you're going to do with the song I sent you? I have not worked out what I'm going to do with the song you sent me. Not going to lie, it has not been on the priority list. I've been pretty frantically doing other stuff. I'll see how I can do it. Maybe I will release it, adjust it a little bit, and post it on Christmas Day. That might be an option. But we'll see. You've also triggered something in my mind that I had to remember, and I've forgotten. Damn it, I'll remember everything later. So if there's anybody that wants to come on and have a wee chat about fish, feel free to let me know, and I'll send you the link. We've got a bit of an open mic situation going on. You also might have noticed that we're doing a wee top 10 of our Finatics Friday coffee dates, of the ones we've had our guests on over the next 10 days to end of the year. So myself and John have gone through and selected our favourite episodes that we had. We've decided we have to give a reason behind why we've selected them, whether it was inspirational. Yesterday I said the one we did with Scott Fellman was one of my favourites. For me, it was like listening to him on a podcast, because I've listened to so many of his podcasts, and I found it thoroughly enjoying. It just felt like it was a real-life podcast. He inspired a lot of my inspiration when it comes to botanical aquariums for such a long time. So to be speaking to him was quite cool, and I really enjoyed it. So that's why he got the tick. So today we'll be releasing another one, and until the end of the year we'll be doing that as well. So just a bit of a recap of what we've done. Good morning, Skippers Aquariums. How are you? I'd also like to throw something out to the floor. We're considering starting the coffee dates an hour earlier. So instead of running from 9 to 11, we're thinking about opening it from 8 a.m. to 11, still remaining on Fridays. Reason being is whenever we get guests, often we go, oh man, we could talk for another 5 hours or whatever it feels. Sometimes that we've just cut the time short. Just because we'll have the 3 hours available doesn't necessarily mean we'll use the 3 hours, but the 11 a.m. is the hard cut because that's when the shop opens. So we have to be done just before 11 a.m. So we're considering starting at 8 and then at least allowing that 3-hour session. So I'd love to know from people whether you think this is a good idea. Just, chuck a comment of yes or no, or yes with a reason, no with a reason. Just sort of gauging interest on that for when we do it for next year. Again, logically it says give that extra time so we're not as rushed. And like I said, sometimes we won't use those 3 hours, just like we don't use the 2 hours sometimes. But there'll definitely be situations where we could have used the extra hour and got a lot more value and time and information and stuff out of our guests. So that's where we're just kind of working with that. So yeah, definitely let me know. Let me know what you think about that, and we can go from there. Right, what else has been happening? Rochelle will be happy to know that I have now got the glass for the overflow box for the clown loach tank. So that arrived yesterday. Got the phone call saying it was ready. It's all drilled, all ready to go for me to put together. So I've got to drill some holes in the end of the tank so that it all matches up and gets that going. So hopefully I can get that done this weekend. We'll just see where the rest of my workload is as far as setting tanks up and that kind of stuff. Being that today and tomorrow are the last days that we're open pre-Christmas, I'm somewhat expecting us to be busy in the shop, particularly tomorrow. So I will be in the shop tomorrow with Holly just to help out. If it's not too busy, then I'll be out the back tinkering and trying to get some jobs done. If not, I'll be in the shop helping her out. So fingers crossed I can get the end piece drilled out and everything lined up. Then I'll be able to make the overflow box. Once that's made, I can go through and get all the plumbing sorted, which they might be open over the holidays. I'm not 100% sure. They also might not be. So if they're open over the holidays and I get it made up, I'll begin that process. If not, then it will have to wait. But that's another major step towards getting this clown loach tank done. And then we can build the tank. I very much need it done because the tank the loaches are in needs to move really quickly. So I picked up some IBC totes last weekend. And they're making a real mess of out the back here, making it pretty hard to move around. But I need to get that moved so I can put the IBCs in place so I can grow out some fry. So it's not just I really want this clown loach tank done. It is also a case of I actually need it for space reasons, for progress reasons, for business reasons as well. So there's a bit of pressure for me to move that along as well. But there's a bit of a progress report on that. So yeah, get some holes drilled hopefully really soon. Get some tanks made up. I'm going to move some other tanks and drill some holes through walls and that kind of stuff. So we're fingers crossed getting there. Michelle said it'd be good. I'd be late on as someone needs to get this program of school. Yep, totally. And I understand that starting the live stream an hour early is not going to work for everybody. Equally, like starting at 9 o'clock doesn't work for everybody. So I totally get that. Might also not work very well for guests. Taking into account that we have a lot of guests from the America areas. I think we normally kickstart. It's about 3 p.m. for them, so that might then become 2 p.m., so that might not work for them. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, it's just an idea just to give us a little bit more room to wiggle, basically. Morning, Zen. How are you doing? Who's breeding and growing well at the moment? My attention over the last 10 days or so, unfortunately, has not been on the breeding, and I haven't collected any eggs. I think we had a hatch of some smudge spot cories the other day, but I haven't been paying much attention to that. I've been trying to get the new tanks, the new racks put up, and get that under control, so we can start producing more. I still have to move 8 or so small aquariums onto the new rack, plumb all them or airline all of them in, move another 3-foot tank, airline that in, and then once they're all set, then all the breeders can be not disturbed, not be moved around, that kind of stuff. So yeah, fingers crossed I can get that done over the next couple of days as well. That's the plan. Just depends how busy we get. It's just been a little bit frantic with stock coming in, people coming out of the shop, orders going in, all that sort of stuff. So it's just a bit of wiggle time and trying to make things work. And obviously because it's Christmas, things are a little bit frantic at home, like most people are. So I'm not able to be coming in quite as early as I'd like to. So it's just trying to balance everything. So also the industry my partner's in gets insanely busy this time of year. She's in hospitality, so she's doing more hours as well. So it's just trying to balance everything right. So fingers crossed over the next couple of days I can get everything piped up, aired up, and then we can get into some serious breeding action again as well. I have added some young albino corridors to the group, as I'm adamant I've either got females or a dud male. I haven't got a single fry yet. So hopefully in 6 months' time that gives us something from there. What else? I've done the same thing with the peppered corridors because they're well and truly big enough and I'm yet to get an egg. So yeah, that's where that's kind of at. As these next lot of tanks get put up, it should mean that most fish will be species only. Corridors, live-bearers, all colour variations have their own tanks. There'll be swordtails, platies, guppies, mollies, and it'll also allow for got 3 or 4 different various pleco species will be by themselves. All the rainbow fish will all be by themselves. Pea puffers, hill stream loaches, everything will be by themselves. Got some gold rams that I'm growing up, so they'll grow out for a little bit and hopefully we get a spawn from them. The the keyholes that spawned ate their eggs yet again. They just don't quite get it that I want their fry. And I'm yet to have a spawn from the Bolivian rams, the Bolivian rams, the T-bars, or the golden eye nanocaras. But they're all looking like they want to. All the males are looking phenomenal. The females aren't quite there yet, but we'll see how we go. So that's where we're at as far as the breeding goes. Let's push through a little from these questions up here. Cool. Dan's gold laser Corys are 2 weeks old and going good. How many gold lasers have you managed to acquire, Dan, from your spawning efforts? Are they going great guns, or are you just getting small numbers each time? Sinceres, yeah, we usually start between 2 and 4 in the US, depending on the zone. Now we 1 and 3, I think, yeah. And it also depends because we do daylight savings over here as well. So that changes everything. There's definitely been times where we've set up guests pre-daylight savings change, and then it's changed, and we've had to frantically change all the times, everybody. So, just hoping the extra hour earlier helps people because we can't do the extra hour later, unfortunately. With the IBC, what filtration will you use? I was looking at doing the same. I'm probably just going to go with sponge filters. So we will be looking at literally growing out the fry. So for an example, at the moment, we've got a couple 100-litre round tub that is holding the just under 100 glow light tetras and probably about the same bronze corridors. So we're talking about fish that are about this sort of size, so they're not ginormous. So probably just a big sponge filter to go into them. I am contemplating connecting them all and running them all together. I don't know if I want to take that risk with potential potential fry that I'm wanting to move on and sell. That's why I'm probably going to sway with individual filtration just on really big sponge filters. I'm still pushing. I believe I'm beginning to push the limits of the air pump that we've got. It's going quite well, so I'm just sort of working out how many more tanks and how deep some of the tanks are before that begins to push its limits. I might have to buy a second one and set a second one up somewhere else. I'm hoping that by the time we've set up this next column in the middle and set up all the IVCs, that'll be enough. There won't be any dramas there. And then when we go through the next lot of expansion, the plan will be to buy a whole lot of PVC, build a spider web up on the ceiling area, and then basically pre-plan so when the pipes are set, you know exactly where the tanks are going to go and we can work it that way. So that is the plan at the moment. We'll just see how we go. Good morning, Rebecca. How are you? After Christmas, I'm hoping to sell baby guppies. Some of them are coming up with interesting mix. Zippered guppies with fancy colours. Cool. Very cool. The dwarf honey gouramis that have not killed each other yet, fantastically, have not spawned either. Last time round, we put them together. The male was smashing the female in like a matter of minutes. She was out of there. But they're in a far smaller tank. The other week, I thought they were going for it. They very much looked like they were ready, but nothing came of it. I haven't got a bubble nest yet or anything like that, so I think I'm going to separate them very soon again and try again. Unfortunately, so they're definitely old enough. They've been in here for at least the whole year, basically. So, yeah, they're old enough. It's just not quite prepped up well enough, I guess. So I need to do a little bit of work on that. But they're living in there without beating each other up, so that's fine. Also, some of the rummy nose that I separated, I haven't managed to spawn, and I'm really annoyed that I'm having to move everything because they're pretty close to ready to let's try. So, but it is what it is. What we got? Helen says, new diamonds are popping out of the jungle, my bigger. Awesome. Now up to 20. Well done. Open suggestions how I can catch them in a big, deep tank with lots of driftwood. My only suggestion would be patience and lowering the water level, which I'm sure you've probably thought of already. That's one of the downsides of spawning and raising fish in smaller mature tanks like that. Is you've got to somehow work out a way of getting them out. But it is what it is. Once again, if anyone wants to come on and talk aquariums with me, you're more than welcome to. I don't think we're going to be getting John this morning by the look of it. But that, again, it is what it is. Not sure where he's gone, but he's not going to be here today by the vibe of it. So because my list had absolutely nothing on it, I still have nothing much to talk about. So we can rabble, let you guys manipulate the conversation where you guys want it to be. Do we all have plans for Christmas? Do we have any fish plans for Christmas? Are we doing any expansions to fish rooms, increasing any aquariums, looking at buying any fish for Christmas, that kind of stuff? One thing I have learned this year is why fish shops have plain, not too decorated tanks. Yeah, it is basically to help catch fish. I've got some plants in some of those shop sales tanks, and they never seem to do very well. I think predominantly is because you've got a net in there swishing around, knocking around all the time. So the less that's kind of in there, the easier it is to catch fish. The flip side is the less that's in there, the more stress the fish get. So it's kind of trying to find that balance between what works and what doesn't work. And then, like, if you're using plants will have their own go where they want. So I planted a whole bunch of twisted Vallisneria in one of the tanks, and I wanted it to go across the back of the tank because obviously you can see your fish at the front, make it easier to catch them. But it decided to go forward. So like that was never going to work for me. Knocking around, the val melted and that kind of stuff. So I'm having relative success with some crypts hanging around at the back. Saw plants tend to get knocked out of the sand a little bit, which is a bit of a pain as well. I'm having relatively good success with plants on coconut huts, which seems to be going all right as well. Because at least then you can sort of move them in and out. Gives the vibe of having plants in the aquarium, which is nice. It also gives a bit of shelter for some of the other fish as well. So, yeah, it's a bit tricky at times. Spiderwood works really well because, again, you can just lift it straight out. There's lots of intricate bits and pieces for the fish to hoon around on. So, yeah, and I guess if I sold ornaments, I'd probably have ornaments in the tanks, but I clearly don't, so I don't have any in the tanks. Rebecca is going to some aquarium stores to get some aquarium plants to make terrariums. Nice, cool. So you're giving the terrariums away for Christmas type presents? Because that sounds like a pretty cool idea. Maybe John forgot about the time swap. Now, maybe. Maybe. He's normally pretty good on a Friday. I sent him the link quite late. I normally send him a message about an hour or so before, just reminding him, but I didn't today because I was busy. So maybe it's my fault. Maybe I needed to remind him, but something's possibly come up. Bearing in mind, of course, that this is Thursday night. He has children and stuff like that. So things happen with kids. It is what it is. Kids and families, I guess I should say. Where have we got here? Yep. Yeah, totally. So, I don't disagree. Every time we've got plecos on, I try and keep them in tanks that have got like coconut huts, so they can kind of just sort of sit underneath them, or wood structures that they can kind of hide under, as opposed to super decorated, super planty, if that makes sense. When you're lucky, they'll sit underneath something or around something in a position that the general public can see them. Otherwise, sometimes you get unlucky and they don't. But yeah, I totally agree. There's some fish that work really well with it, others that don't. And hatchet fish, for example, having a whole bunch of plants on the ground isn't going to do much for them. They want to be up the top anyway. So yeah. Dan is going to plant a hydroponics veggie setup. Sounds good. With a pond below it to move my gold white. That's a fantastic idea. That'll work real well. Funny you say that. I was talking to my dad last night about setting up a hydroponics setup at home. So yeah, I think it's a pretty cool idea. Something I've always been interested in, but I haven't never got around to playing around with. I was contemplating doing something similar for the IBC grow out tanks, maybe some sort of plastic tray or something with aquatic plants growing up and out of it, floating around, but I'm just not sure if the humidity in the back breeding area will be strong enough to grow them all year round. It might be different once we close it off a little bit, but at the moment I don't think they grow very well in the winter time. So I do love the idea of hydroponics or aquaponics. So yeah. Loving my wild beetles. They're eating well. I've all put them on weight, and it took them 3 days to work out. I was the bringer of food. Now all 5 rush up. Ooh. Is that the beta imbeciles, however that's pronounced, that came in a few weeks back, or is a different wild beta that I have missed? We've got a few of them sitting for someone in the back. Obviously, I unfortunately mistimed everything with being able to send the fish around the countryside. We've got 2 or 3 tanks full of fish that we're holding for people that people have asked to get in for them that I can't do much about till into the new year, but that's fine. But one of them is the betas. I think they're quite cool. I quite like the shape of them, a little bit sort of longer and slender than the your normal splendors, which I think is quite cool. I'm just hoping that over the next couple of weeks they don't get too big and start beating the heck out of each other, because I don't really have anywhere. I could put some in the shop. Have somewhere for them if I need to. Otherwise, they'll have to get chucked in the 6-litre tanks that I've got that I was using for eggs. So, yeah, I'm quite enjoying them. I've really enjoyed the updates that people have bought them and seeing them colouring up a little bit. They're quite a cool fish. Yeah. I would jump on, but have 3 loud kids. Yeah, I don't think I've ever met a kid that's not loud for the best part. Looking at going away 4 days, but have 40 new fry anyway around it. How new fry are we talking? Are we talking about African cichlids? Option could be, if you have a friend nearby, ask them to pop in once a day and just feed a little bit of crushed up flake, depending on how big they are. Set it into a pill container. Or some sort of small container this one day, this next day, this the next, so they don't overfeed. That would probably be your best option. Depending on how old they are, you might get away with 4 days, you might not. You could also try a little bit of Rapashi. It's water soluble, so you can put some in and it should dilute after about 2 days. Could be another option around it. But I think your best way would be if you can find someone local to you, or a friend of yours, to just come in and feed them, or possibly even feed all your fish, every day or so. Just make sure they know specifically exactly what it is you want fed in little cups and stuff like that. Maybe see if your mate in Auckland can pop on. I think he's I've got a feeling he might be out at a pond service or something somewhere. I think I read yesterday he was opening his shop later today. He hasn't been active on our group chat at all this morning, so I've got a feeling that he might be out at a client's place this morning. Could be totally wrong, but I've just got a vibe that that's where he might be at the moment, so won't be able to get him on either. Cool Christmas present. That's a great idea. I've always liked the looks of those like big round bowl terrarium type vibes, but I'm not good enough, crafty enough at growing plants like that. I'd love to give one a go and put it on the counter in the shop because I think they're stupidly cool. The embellishments, yeah, cool. Although, yeah, I was aware there seems to be a bit of a no one knows if they're pure or hybrids. I guess we'll never really know unless they're properly tested, I suppose. I've also heard that some of them were wild caught, some of them were tank grades that come from two different suppliers, two totally different price points as well. Yeah, I don't know. My supplier didn't say they were wild caught. They just told me they only had males. I don't know if that's entirely true because there looks to be possibly some females hanging around. I know someone else believes they've got some females that came from the same lot as my lot. So, yeah, we'll see how we go with that. Yeah, so a week or so old. Yeah, I'd definitely be looking at getting someone to come in and give you a hand, feeding out some fry food or something like that every day just to help with that. I'd also definitely say, can you please feed this small container one day, this small container one day, this small container the next, otherwise they'll overfeed and you might come out with a bit of issues. 4 days for your general aquarium shouldn't have too much issues, but for your fry, I'd be wanting to get through that a little bit better. Yeah, better. If you're going away for 4 days, you could feed on the day that you go away, get them to come on the first day you're away, the second day you're away, and I'm assuming that you're back on the 4th day, so they might only need to come in 2 days, which might help as well. So here's a few options there. I have just remembered that I have some exciting stuff as well. So yesterday, or as you may or may not know, we've been setting up this small little dual lido in the shop. It's not quite a cube, but it's almost a cube. Anyway, we put it in the corner, put it on the angle, looks really good. We'll plug the CO2 into that so that'll start doing its thing over the next few weeks or so. Really looking forward to the growth on that. But it's really inspired me to set up another display tank in the shop, actually a couple. So I'm going to bring my dual Rio from home. I think I've got a spot for it. I've got 2 possible options. We'll just sort of toss up where we're going to go. So dual Rio is a 4-foot tank, 240 litres, 250 litres off the top of my head. So I'm kind of looking for ideas of what I want to do with it. So far in the shop, we've got a botanical aquarium. We've got a nice CO2-based planted tank. We've got the Lake Tanganyika Shelly tank. We don't have what I would consider a community tank, and we don't have what I would consider, or we don't have a Malawi African tank. We don't have the Malawi one so far because we don't sell Malawi fish, so it doesn't make a lot of point, but I'm contemplating either setting up a really happy-go-lucky tank with the dual Rio or possibly a dwarf Malawi Mbuna tank. So I need a little bit of assistance and help and thoughts on that. So that's one spot, and then I've got another spot where I've got a stand already in the fish room where we sell our fish from that I can put another tank in, which I'm going to eventually get through. I've got to finish building this tank before I worry about that one. So one or the other will be them. The other thing that I don't have in the shop is like a plica-only tank or a catfish-only tank. So they're the 3 in the mix. When you walk into a fish shop, what type of display aquariums do you like to see? Would you be more excited seeing a dwarf Malawi Mbuna tank? Would you far enjoy a happy-go-lucky community-based aquarium? Would you like to see a catfish-only tank, maybe another botanical tank, a bit more blackwater, a bit of rapids, that kind of stuff? So I'm fairly open to options because the tanks are blank at the moment. I'm fairly open to customizing them as well. Like, I don't mind where we kind of go with it, just as long as everything's compatible. So like, if I'm going to do a Malawi tank, I'm clearly not going to put neon tetras in with them, as an example. So what kind of things would you like to see if you're walking into a fish shop? What would you enjoy seeing? So they're kind of my three options: happy-go-lucky, a dwarf Malawi tank, or maybe a catfish type aquarium. So let me know, and we'll sort of adapt it and see how we can go from there. One of yours looks like she'll be a female. Cool, awesome. Yeah, I totally agree that non-fish keepers always overfeed. They always think the fish need more food. Separating into containers is the only way. Yep, totally agree with you. Fish keepers that buy fish food doesn't count as a Christmas present. Are you giving the fish food to the fish as a present? Are you giving the fish food to your non-fish keeping friends to give back to you? Or are you asking them to give you fish food for a present? Yes, you should put some rapashi on your Xmas list. Malawi tank above me. Well, funny you say that, because the Aurora are definitely in the mix if I go down that route, because I absolutely love them. If I do a Malawi tank, it will most likely be a species-specific only tank, maybe 2 species. Rusties would be in the mix. The Snow White, which I believe is Sosophioli. I'm saying it completely wrong, which is the albino version of the powder blue from memory. Could be wrong again. So they would be in the mix. The Auroras are probably the only 3 that would be possibly in that mix. Maybe some nice electric yellows, but probably not. So, potentially there might be you. Obviously, lots of plants and colourful tetras and barbs. Yeah, I haven't done a barb tank. That could be an option. If I go down the happy-go-lucky plant tank, community-type tank, I might make it cryptocorynes only, potentially, because I really love them and I love how they grow. Bit of a crypt farm, which I've spoken to about with someone before. And then as I started discussing a crypt farm, I was like, then I could put an Aponogeton in there, and I could put a lily in there, and then it ended up being not a crypt farm. It ended up being a full-on planted tank. So, but that'd be an option. Colourful tetras, corridoras, just a real happy-go-lucky. I've never done like what you'd be considered a proper community tank. Every tank I've always kind of worked on with a bit of a theme, as opposed to like walking to a shop. Oh, I've got a community tank. Man, those fish look awesome. I'm going to bring them home, sort of scenario. So I've got this itch that I need to scratch. The closest I got was the one that was on the rack that split earlier this year. So I've definitely got the itch to do that, and that's why it's in the mix. Tropheus tank is too small for them, unfortunately. If you could do a river tank with plants up the back and water below, absolutely makes sense. It is something that I have contemplated before. Haven't quite worked out how I would do it, but I know exactly where you're going with that. To do that, I think you'd need to go quite a low, shallow tank to give that effect a little bit easier, or like a Paludarian type setup, so the back of it's really high and the front of it slides down, so the low bit at the front. Obviously, the Dual Rio isn't going to tick that box because it's already pre-made, but the one that I'm making could easily fit into that box if we go down that route. So I've already got the cherry barb tank, so we might just stay away with the cherry barbs, like to showcase a different type fish. But yeah. Bought my Fish Keeping Fanatics staff member $50 $5 gift voucher for Christmas present. Hope he likes it. I'm sure he will. Thank you very much for your support. That's another good thing to talk about. If you are stuck for present ideas, or you want to buy yourself a present, or you want to buy your fish a present, We sell vouchers. They're on the website called Fish Bucks. They are usable online and in store. You can print them out, and as soon as we just scan the voucher, and away you go. So if you're looking for something on those lines, that is a really good option as well. So I think I've done pretty well rambling here for 40 minutes, considering I had absolutely nothing written on my thing. Something I would like to bring up and mention is I think it's really cool that we've had up to 15 or 20 or 15 people, I think 16 people on here. And it's exciting. A lot of you are from New Zealand, and it's really exciting that, like, I can see the chat, you're all kind of interacting with each other, and I'm assuming that you're all kind of picking up each other's names and talking with each other, like conversing in this chat. And yeah, I don't quite know where I'm kind of going with that, but along the lines of it, it's kind of cool seeing a whole community being built and a whole bunch of like-minded people talking about fish while I'm talking about fish. I think that's really exciting and quite cool. So thank you everybody who is about. One of the things I was wanting to do with doing this live stream is building a community of like-minded fish geeks to talk about fish, and it's cool that you guys are talking about that, and we're all here for the same reason, for the love of aquariums. So really cool. Yes, a great white shark is out of the question. Yep, definitely not just New Zealand specific. I definitely know there's a few people hanging around from around the world. Texas seems to be quite a common location. I also know Texas is quite large, so I'm not going to ask you if you know Josh, who I know who lives in Texas, because there's probably thousands of Joshes and you probably don't know him. But yeah, it's very cool, very cool. Well then, if we've got nothing else to discuss, we haven't really clarified what I'm thinking about doing with this dual Rio. I have thrown out some options and some thoughts about what it is that I'm thinking about doing. So that's kind of cool. Which has another question. On your Christmas table, what food do you love seeing in your truffle or pav? I don't have much of a sweet tooth. Probably more trifle over pavlova, if I have to. If there's no Christmas ham, I'm disappointed. I'm not a ginormous fan of ham for the best part of the year, but decent thick slices of ham over Christmas is a good time. As long as I don't see cardboard sausages, I'm generally okay. By cardboard sausages, I mean like those Hellas sausages that are full of cardboard or sawdust or gross stuff. Same with those disc patties that just taste like garlic and soy flowers or whatever. I'm not a massive fan of them either. But yeah, generally speaking, I'm not too fussed at what's there. It's more about the people that I'm with, enjoying the company, than what's actually there. As long as there's not raw tomato, I'm pretty much happy to eat most things. So yeah, I'm pretty easygoing when it comes to that. I believe this year for Christmas, I have to make a pasta salad, which seems pretty off Christmas, but that's what I've been asked to make, so that's what we're going to do. And I also have to make a Thousand Island dressing for a shrimp cocktail that my father is making. So not too busy as far as the cooking things go for me this year. But yeah. Apparently great whites are impossible to keep alive in captivity. I wonder why. Dan doesn't have a sweet tooth, but Team Pav, boo. Not okay, man. Not okay. Yeah, it takes 9 hours just to drive across Texas. So to put that into comparison, I think it's 12 hours to drive from where I am, which is close to the top of the South Island in New Zealand, to the bottom of the South Island. It's 5.5 hours to Christchurch, 2 hours to Timaru, So that's 7.5, then 2 hours to the next destination, which I think is Dunedin. So that puts us at 9.5, and then it's another hour or so to get down even further. So, yeah, Texas appears to be about the same length as what the South Island does. Good times. Got Christmas honey baked ham, yum. Am I a good cook? This would say that I'm not, because I cut half my fingernail off last night while cutting some capsicums. And fun story, I cut this fingernail as well about, I don't know, 5 minutes later when I was trying to cut some chicken. I like to think that I'm a good cook. I am the cook of the house. I basically do not allow any jarred junk in my house for cooking, or pre-packeted stuff is to the minimum. So I pretty much make everything from scratch where I can, excluding things like pasta. I don't make a lot of pasta, but I feel like I'm an okay cook. I'm sure the size of my stomach would prove that I'm an okay cook as well. Good morning, Maxie. How you doing? Yeah, that's probably more of a straight line in Texas as well. All right. Another question. CUSA have wonder shells to raise calcium on and GH in tank for fry, snails, and shrimp, etc. Is anything like that? Yes, there certainly is. You can get little shells that are shaped like turtles. Excuse me. That do the exact same thing. I know Animates sell them. We used to sell them. The supplier that we get them from does reptile stuff and no fish stuff. And since we I've decided not to sell reptile stuff, we haven't stocked them or restocked them for a while. But it's definitely available. Most pet stores that have anything reptile related should have them. So yeah, definitely. I don't think they're called wonder shells. I believe they're called turtle blocks. Let's have a look. I'll be able to tell you in a second. I'm pushing a couple of buttons on my computer. So that I don't close this window. Turtle shells. No. Look at me multitasking. Calcium. Maybe I have removed them off my system already. I might have already done that. Calcium and vitamin bites. So you get them in small and large, and you get them pre-packed in individuals. So they're definitely available. Any store that has reptile stuff is likely to have them. They're made by a place called Hot House Turtles. We just don't carry them anymore because we're getting out of all reptile stuff, so that was the only thing we wanted from them. Well, I'm happy that you're awake, and thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate it. It's funny you say that. I broke a bottle yesterday. I was trying to put it in the rubbish bin, and I didn't quite get into the rubbish bin. My hand didn't open properly, and as the lid went down, it knocked out of my hand. It bounced. I was like, yes! And then it bounced again, and it smashed. So, yeah, it's not just test tubes that I like to break. I like to break lots of stuff. Clearly, I broke an aquarium not long ago. I've broken several aquariums this year. So if it's glass, look out. Well, Cuddle Shell. I believe that Cuddle Shell does do the same thing. Don't quote me on that, but I think they do the same thing. My coffee's gone cold. All right, so I've now rambled for 49 minutes. Thank you for everybody who has been with us in the chat. Is there anything that you would like to add, Maxie? Because you've just turned up. We've had a fairly robust conversation. We've discussed some of the things that are happening. I've asked the people, would you like to see the Finatics Friday coffee date start an hour earlier, start at 8 o'clock and potentially run till 11 o'clock each day, so from 2 hours to 3 hours? You can have your input if you would like that. Let me know. Say yes. Gary says yes, works well. There you go. You can absolutely use those those Cuddle Shells. Gary says they work well. We've also asked the people looking at bringing my dual Rio tank in, should we go down the route of a happy-go-lucky community tank? Should we go down the route of a dwarf Malawi Mbuna tank, or possibly a catfish tank? So you're welcome to add your thoughts to that one as well. We've talked about what's on the menu for. Oh, we won't talk about that because you don't like Christmas. Sorry. What else talked about? We talked about the new Beta Imbecilus. I don't know how to pronounce it. Coming to the country, which I'm aware you have some of. We discussed whether or not they were potentially wild caught, whether different suppliers have wild caught or not, whether they are purebred or whether they are crossbred hybrids. What else have we spoken about? That potentially, although they came in as only males, that there is females in that group. We've discussed the top 10 videos that we're doing from the Finatics Friday coffee date. We've also discussed that from next year onwards, we will be releasing the Finatics Friday coffee date as a podcast every single week, whether we've got a guest or whether it's just me rambling about nothing. If there's anything you would like to add to that, Maxie, please feel free to. We've also discussed breeding and what's being bred by people, what's growing up and what's not. We are well aware that you are very good at the breeding. So again, if you want to add some more to that, feel free to. Don't even talk to me about those little drama food fish. Good times. Time to take a holiday from your holiday. Yep, that works. Have you been doing a lot of work in your fish room and around the house and that kind of stuff, getting ready for Christmasing things? Yeah. Festivums are very, very pretty fish. Festivums are one of the fish that I've thought about adding to the stock that we sell. I'm pretty almost hard and fast on the smaller aquarium type fish, which I know they can kind of fit the less aggressive type fish as well. Contemplating increasing what we supply or sell next year. Not too sure of that. Let's get some opinions from the floor. Fish-wise, are we supplying the right sort of fish that everybody wants? Should we be opening up what we sell a little bit more? And taking into account that suppliers run out of fish fairly quickly and sometimes we can't carry stuff. We're also very limited to the amount of suppliers we use. Like those Black Knights that came in, for example, the other week. I don't know who bought them in. It's not a supplier that I use, so I've got no idea. So there's definitely suppliers of things that we don't do anything with. So are we supplying the fish that people want? Do you want to see us change that? Do you want us to look at slightly different species? For example, I was going to get some here or something, flicking on my face. I was looking at getting some Colombian tetras in the other day. We haven't had them before, or for a very long time. Is that something that people would be interested in? Festivums would be another option. Severums, like I don't really want to carry things like Oscars and birches and that kind of stuff, but is that something that people want us to carry? I suppose same with African cichlids. I'm pretty much not in that world. Never really intended the fish room to be in that world, although I like those sort of fish. Do people want to see us carrying them or not? So I'm pretty open to what we do and what we stock. And if people want us carrying slightly bigger fish, slightly different fish, then we'll just make a few adjustments. Do you want to see us carrying more better, less better? Just keen to be interested in what people want us to carry and want us to have and stuff like that. So that is a vote for yes, stocks and festivums. I also think they have really great fish. The other half wants to try a tetra breed. Any suggestions what I should try? Green fire tetras would be my first thought. Lemon tetras would be another one. What else? Is he looking for a challenge? Because I know you guys are pretty good at what you do when it comes to breeding. So, like, is he looking for a challenge, or does he want to sort of ease his way into it? Like, if I've managed to breed low light tetras, then he shouldn't have any issues whatsoever. So that'd be a nice, good starting one. Prostella tetras are apparently really easy to spawn. They don't sell particularly well. Congo tetras are probably a good option if you've got the room. They need a bit of space. They do sell fairly well, but they need the space. Colombian tetras, probably another one. Need a bit of space. Quite nice fish, don't sell all that well, so you might get lumped with them. If you do end up with hundreds and hundreds of tetras, let me know, and if you're willing to send them down, I'm happy to buy them off you because your work deserves reward, as it were. Long fin black widows. Yeah, black widows would be another option. Black phantoms, red phantoms, serpays. I tell you what, embers would be a great option. Everyone loves an ember tetra. They're a cool fish. If you want me to let you know what fish sell really well as far as tetras go, I can run through those records and let you know if he's looking at something that will be able to sell easily, or if he's just looking at some fish that he wants to knock off. It's totally a different thing. So I can let you know later on if there's top 5 selling tetras or something along those lines. They're well aware that I like African cichlids. I have no issues with African cichlids. I just don't want to talk about African cichlids 24/7 when we do our podcast together. That's the only thing. I've got a massive soft spot for Autolamprigus, frontosa. A lot of the Lake Tanganyikan cichlids I have a soft spot for. And there's definitely some Malawi cichlids that I absolutely love. There's some gorgeous haps. Like, it's not that I don't like them, it's just that it's not the vision that I have when I'm thinking about what the fish room does and what we stock and that sort of stuff. So, yeah. See you, Gary. Merry Christmas, buddy. Thank you for your support throughout the year. Really appreciate it. Oh, I missed a question. Definitely reckon you need African cichlids. Well, I don't know. For us to do the way the shop's set up at the moment, for us to do African cichlids, we'd have to either get rid of the axolotls, which I have no issues with. We'd have to swap the potted plant tank out to become a proper aquarium, which could probably be working as well. And we'd have to get rid of about 400 cherry bulbs. It's not impossible. We've got four 3-foot tanks, so we could possibly do that. Always thought the Africans, even though they're in a shop and not going to be here for long, need a bigger tank than 3 foot, probably better on a 4 foot. But yeah, we'll see how we go. We'll consider it. Always feel so useless when it comes to stocking questions on other continents, as I don't feel like, wants or needs for your... Yeah, fickle. Totally understand that. Like, anytime I've watched any videos from other countries and they've got all these cool fish, like I think the green wrist boar or something like that, I go, wow, that's we can't get them. So I totally understand where you're coming from with that. We were looking at long fin black widows. Don't know where spaces come from. I understand. Yes, Congos are awesome. That's just me. I think he wants to try something with those breeders. If they're cool, we all know I'll end up raising them. So he'll spawn them and he'll do the work and he'll take the credit. Not sure if I say this right. Who's got the WEO products? I'm assuming Aqua House will have them. I haven't spoken to Remy for a little bit, but I'm assuming that they've got them in already. I want to say that I saw someone post that they got some from him. Again, I'm 100% sure. I try and avoid not wasting my time on various Facebook pages because I've got work to do and stuff like that. But I think I have seen that someone already bought some from Remy. Yeah, frontoses are very cool. Yeah, we've been through this before, Thomas. I don't have room for a 3,500 litre tank. That's on Trade Me. Equally, a 3,500 litre tank is not going to be very efficient to sell fish from. So by the time you put the net in one end, they're already at the other end, and I won't be able to catch fish from that tank. Cool. Well, you've all given me some food for thought. Potential for some slightly different fish. Nobody seemed overly keen for things like birches and arowanas and knife fish and that kind of stuff, which is cool. Obviously, we can order them in if people want them, but I'm not so keen on carrying them. But there was a bit of interest to go towards some slightly different fish for Stevens, maybe some African cichlids. We'll see how we go. We will see how we go. I might put a post on Facebook, get people's thoughts and opinions on that. So we'll just see how we go. We've been rambling now for an hour. Felt like I was running out of stuff to talk about half an hour ago, so I feel like I'm running out of stuff to talk about now. Yeah. So if there's anyone would like us to get on for our Finatics Friday coffee date for next year, please let me know. I'll do my best to get hold of them. There's plenty of people that say no. There's plenty of people that don't get back to me. But I'm more than happy to continue trying to get different people on to talk to us about stuff. Again, hoping the extra time slot makes life a little bit easier for some people. We will see how we go. Other than that, I guess we will disappear. Thank you very much. We won't be stopping the Finatics Friday coffee dates over the Christmas break. We'll still have another one next week, and then the one the week after. The shop will be open up again, and might look at starting at 8 a.m. Yeah, someone from MPI would be good. It's a bit of a hard push, but we'll see how we go. Tried to get some importers on, weren't so keen, so I'll keep trying with that. I might try. She got an idea. Thank you. I'll write that down, see if he is keen to give it a go. We'll see how we go. But yeah. Other than that, I will go. I hope everybody enjoys their day, enjoys your Christmas. Thank you very much for being involved with the Fish Room. Thank you very much for your support. It's much appreciated. Keeping fish simple. Yeah, we've already had Nick on from Keeping Fish Simple. He was our first guest this year. Yeah, so we've already had Nick on with us already this year. I'll share a link to the video at some point, probably in the next few days, because I believe he was in our top 10 of guests. So yeah. All right, everybody, have a good one. Happy fish keeping. Enjoy your Christmas day.